sad ending. Oh, well. Sorry I'm late. I know this is a few hours after it's meant to be, but I had stuff to do. This isn't my source of income. My source of income is my source of income, and I had stuff to do. So I did that stuff. But I'm here now. I hope no one was disappointed. I doubt anyone was disappointed. Let's have a look at some songs, shall we? I thought about going back to the Backwash album, which came out relatively recently, which I almost did a while ago, a few weeks ago, but I'm just too excited about this guy, Hex Key. Now, one of the most boring album covers ever, definitely. Nothing to argue about there. Let's just make me brief bit smaller so you can see. Alright, well, that doesn't seem to have worked at all. What's going on? Oh no. Okay. Alright, well, there I am. Small, you can see. Yeah, I mean, it's just an Allen key, isn't it? Let's say it's a hex key, I guess. Maybe people call these hex keys in other places because it's a hexagon, I guess. So, anyway, that's Hex Key. I'm more interested in what the music is going to be in this album because it's by Mamalarky. And Mamalarky had a really, really good album in 2022, Pocket Fantasy. I was very into this album, especially Shining Armor, I think is brilliant. Has a really, really good video. Mythical Bonds is excellent too. I mean, yeah, like really just listening through this album, it goes from strength to strength. Frog 2, a relatively calm, I would say, opener, which nonetheless is a statement of intent. Then you get, a huge amount of really interesting, quirky, jazz-influenced, indie pop rock, I guess, to some degree, but like really that doesn't give it the dues it deserves. It's quite a unique piece of music. I've not gone back to listen to the original, the debut album, the eponymous album. If there's an album before that, I don't know about it as well, but it's definitely worth listening to Pocket Fantasy, and I'm hoping, though I haven't been particularly focused on the songs that have been coming out from this one, I am hoping that we will get a similar quality. So, and I noticed that the last two here are the ones with the most listens, 11 and 12. So we're not going to get that far today, but we will give it a go. Broken Bones. Great. Good start. Oh, okay, am I in tune? More or less. Which means this. Okay. Maybe I'm significantly low, so. So let's just check that. Yeah, it's a little bit sharper than where I am. So yeah, we get some good chords here. These are some of my favorites. Let's hear it again. Yeah, in that rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do we come a bit earlier on the F? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do that one more time. 2, 3, and 4. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's this big space in between each of those hits, and what it's taken up with is drums and this vocal melody, which is, I think, played at the same time in unison on a really fuzzy guitar. Let's hear it one more time. Yeah. So we start there with some very specific A major feeling. 5, 4, 3, 4, 5. That's lovely. And then we go up to the A, and that's when we go down to the G chord. So fits really nicely, but then is already bringing us to a slightly different sound world. Is the line on this F chord. Now the A that we're in there, that we get in with there, that is perfect and fits very nicely as the third. And then we walk down this scale, stopping on the D, which is not really part of this chord, it's the 6 of this chord. So in the same way as we had this A on the G chord here, quite held but soft dissonance. It's not a hard dissonance like something like that. Okay, that would be pretty nasty. This one's quite comfortable as a dissonance. Same thing we get here. We get this F6 chord with that D there. La 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 la. It sort of sits quite nicely in the chord, but it is adding a complexity to it. And then we get back to the D with a little bit of play around, but then we're going to the B flat chord. Well, let's talk about these chords, shall we? A is clearly our root chord because it is the one that we start with very definitively. Okay, we then get a melody that fits with that very nicely with a lot of emphasis of that A. So that is really rooting us around that, but then immediately we are not playing in A major. We get that G. Now, G and A can exist together in a key. And there's nothing to say at that point that we're not just in A mixolydian mode. But that is quickly dashed by the F. The F says no. What we're doing here is different to that. Now, those three chords can't exist in a key, and yet they're used all the time, really, really commonly together, especially in, let's say, rock music. Often used at the end of a piece. You might have had something beautiful, but you were waiting for that beautiful ending, but instead of that, that. It's yeah, I see it as the most sort of epic three chords that you can have. They're all major and they exist in in pairs together, but all three of them together, they are taking you from one atmosphere into another. You're really being driven somewhere else. Now, how I think that works is not really very important, but I think it's basically as if we're in A minor, at least for these first three chords, but instead of that being the key for the chords as well, so each chord has to fit with that, and frankly two of them would fit with that. Instead of that, the chords obey a different rule. They are not focused on tonal center. Each chord centers around each note of the scale. So we get a major chord just constantly. Major is what we are. And the major chord focused around that A fits there, but it doesn't fit with the key. The key is the A minor. And then the G actually does fit with the key, but it's coincidental. It mostly, most importantly, just sits on that note, the G, which is in the key, and similarly with the F. Now we run into a bit of an issue when we get to the B flat, because the B flat does not exist in the key of A minor or A Dorian. But in fact, it exists in a Phrygian mode, which has that darker sound to it, okay? So therefore, we're just applying both these rules to that as if that was our main thing, and instead of a minor, a Phrygian, and that just gives us that B flat. Now, does that mean that this doesn't sound a little bit aggressive, a little bit uncomfortable? No, it totally does. It totally does. Especially that B flat, because it's one semitone away from that A. You get that really kind of Spanish feeling Phrygian play that's going on there. Anyway, that's enough about the first 5 seconds, I suppose. Although I do like the drum breaks that we're getting in the middle. Let's hear it one more time, because those drums are going in the background, but they're actually quite fun. Yeah, I say fun. The most fun thing, I guess, is that that double kick drum in the last 2 beats of the bar of the second set of bars. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's there. In fact, is it a double kick drum? Let's just. No, it's not. Sorry, it's a kick drum on. If we're thinking 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, then it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. So it's on the E of 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Okay? And there's the kick drum there. Boom. And then there's a snare on the A. So something like. Right, I'll do that one more time. That's basically the rhythm that's going on there. And it's just a little difference from this constant quaver rhythm that is in the drums otherwise. Yeah, fun. The most moving part, though, is the melody. The melody is going in semiquavers. Da 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 da. So that's keeping our momentum going. And it's quite a wordy melody as well, isn't it? And moving all the way all over these scales. Da 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 da. Lovely. Same chord sequence, but this time we get the B instead of the A there. And then the melody, instead of sticking with the B for the F, which would be a little bit of an aggressive start, instead we resolve it up to the C. And then we work down from there. Let's hear it one more time. Yeah. That sounds like a famous melody to me, but I can't think what it is right now. Is that right? Yeah. So that's really powerful at the end there. But that ends on the major 7 of this F chord, which then after the on the B flat, it's the sharp 4. Oh, cool stuff. Powerful beginning. Same thing as the beginning. I did also want to say that there's this strange reverb on the voice. It's probably double tracked, but also a really kind of boxy, close reverb. Okay. As expected, after repeating that sequence 4 times, now we're into the beginning. Isn't it nice though when you get like a full full band intro, like they're straight there from the beginning. It's quite a powerful thing. Okay, so what's happening in this first verse?
Look at you, you're falling out the sky. Broken bones, but you'll be just fine.
No. Something like that. The bass. The guitars have just disappeared, haven't they? With one last E from the fuzzy one. And then we've just got drums, vocals, and bass. And the bass is sliding all over those. Something like that.
The sky, broken bones, but you'll be just fine. Fallen angel, are you alright?
Yeah. Big slides. And they take a long time about it as well. What to say about that melody? The drums are pretty standard, but the melody...
The sky, broken bones, but you'll be... Look at you, you're falling out the sky. Broken bones, but you'll be just fine.
Yeah. So we're again back in the sort of A idiom, the A major feel. It's 3, 2, 4, 5, 3. Let me repeat that a few times. The only thing that's not in that is that G there from the bass. Okay, so that's saying more Mixolydian again, more Mixolydian rather than full major. But it's a very slight thing anyway.
Fallen angel, are you alright? Alright.
Hang on. That didn't make any sense to me. Let's say that again.
You're falling out the sky.
So this is just a repeat.
But you'll be just fine.
Very, very similar.
Angel, are you alright? Alright.
Okay, so that for that fourth time, instead of repeating or one of those two, instead we just get alright. Alright. So we get the alright again, which it's a good thing to do. It's hard to come up with a melody which works really best repeated 4 times in quick succession. So here we get it repeated 3 times with slight variations, and then we get a little chunk of it repeated after that, which is nice. Nice way of doing things. Well, this is our magic 4 chords. They're not in the modern arrangement though. They're in the I Want to Hold Your Hand arrangement. How does that go again? I wanna hold your hand. Okay, it's the same as that. It's a very old set of chords done in a particular way. Yeah, they have sort of this like really sort of upbeat poppy feel to me. And what else about them? Well, yeah, we're really just sort of palm mute strumming that on the guitar, so nothing as aggressive and in your face as the intro yet. The weird thing about it is that we were really centered around A before, and then we've taken that F, which we had before, but we've also got a C chord, and the C chord is really showing us a new center. All those chords work very nicely in C major. That's quite unexpected. It's an unexpected choice, and we haven't had that chord before, so having it as our new center is like, oh, okay, we're in a different place now.
Alright, alright.
The F comes quite comfortably. Yeah, the melody here as well is reaching up, isn't it? So we start with that, yeah. Is it that? If so, very nice. Okay. That's much less aggressive, sorry. Yeah, so works very nicely in both of these keys, that Mixolydian A and also the new key of that that's C major. Again, those notes actually do sue, apart from, I guess, the C, which we would have as a C sharp down here. But yeah, so the B, we did get that at the beginning, didn't we? We got, so it's still in the same kind of place melodically, but the chords underneath are giving it quite a different feel, especially with that note there. That's again the major seventh. We've had one of those before on the F already, which is, yeah, really nice. Nice bit of melody. Let my feelings show. Which on that F is a little bit unusual, actually. Let my feelings show. Yeah. Let my feelings show. I guess we get to the E for the G chord, and it fits a bit better with that. It's again a soft dissonance, that's sixth. But we're clearly fond of slightly more harsh dissonances, the major sevenths and the sharp fourths. So this is playing around a lot with notes for the melody that don't fit fundamentally comfortably in the chords. Yeah, the guitar's getting a little more honky now, a little more full of noise, slightly chaotic sounding. Unexpected in the context. We've been going around these four chords a lot, and then suddenly we get that B flat in there. Now the B flat came from the beginning. It's not totally away from where we are, but it's unexpected in that context. Is it going to lead us back to the beginning? That would be a really sensible use of it. Basically, yes. It's a really nice sort of play with pitch on those chords as well. They're kind of doing that. Now, it might not be done in that fashion with a bend of the fingers. It might be done with like a whammy bar, or maybe even a pedal, just making a slight dip in the pitch of each of those notes, making it this is normally associated with My Bloody Valentine, because he plays a lot with the whammy bar, and so you get these shimmery chords that are like through a VHS tape. They're not very they're not playing at the right speed. They keep dipping, this kind of thing, and so we get a similar effect here. Yeah, fun. And then we're back into our first section. Oh, okay, there is a bit more percussion in there, isn't there? There's a kind of on the hi-hat. Let's just check if that was there at the beginning. Yeah, it comes in. It wasn't there for the first one. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's actually quite fun, because it's a little thing, and it's not very noticeable, but it's just adding a little bit of extra semiquaver movement. But then it keeps fading in and out of the mix. Let's listen to that again and see, hear it come in and out. It's there, and it's going, and now it's coming back. Now it's going, no, it's there, and it's going, and it's coming back again. It feels like something that's not natural for the performance. I don't think there's anyone who's specifically doing this, or if they are, it's, I guess, someone moving a shaker closer and further away to a mic, but the end product has been finished off with lots of distortion anyway, so if that is the case, it was a bit of a unnecessary detail, I think, but in the context of how it is now, it's a really nice detail. It's adding this sort of transient, slightly unwieldy feel to the mix, which I think is really effective. It's this psychedelic thing, isn't it? Like Tame Impala and such, psychedelic porn crumpets to some degree. They've got this whoa dude kind of feel to the mix, which I think is working really well. Pretty much the same as the initial section, wasn't it? I didn't notice anything else. And now we're back into a verse. Okay, same kind of thing there. We got 3 repeats of the verse stuff, and then the last one in hold on to is very similar, and hold on to was what we finished the verse with before we got that last extra bit as well. So it's following the same structure, but we just had a slightly different melody on that last bit. Yeah, all very structurally strong at the moment. Yeah, the only unexpected thing really is that C chord, and even that is led in with the F and the G. You just expect those to go to the A, or maybe even to the B flat, because that's what we've heard earlier. So playing with expectations, but in very slight ways, which make this, which is basically pop adjacent music, it makes it just that little bit more arty, a little bit more finessed, and that massively impacts how enjoyable it is to listen to, I think. Okay, slight difference in this section is that the drums are going along with the palm mutiness of the guitar. We're getting slightly building up. Can't tell if there's a tom in there as well as the kick drum. The snare and cymbals. Yeah, those cymbals being just caught straight away. That's a weird cymbal sound in the right headphone. Yeah, sometimes it seems like they're allowed to ring for just a tiny amount and then they're just caught. It's a really interesting sound. Okay, a little bit of a different melody there. You know, you get bored of it after a while, don't you, melodies? Don't have to sing them exactly the same every time. Let's just check it didn't do the same thing the first time. Oh, it didn't, did it? Okay. Okay, the drum's now getting quite cacophonous, quite aggressive. The mix here, I wouldn't say it's gone for absolute clarity. Things are sort of smashing in. There's a liberal use of compression in quite a heady way that is hard to pin down sometimes what's exactly going on. But everything's, yeah, really clattery, really bashy. There's a lot of distortion on quite a lot of the drums as well. So it adds to this noisy feel that I think is appropriate. And the only thing that is odd about it is that the vocals are quite soft and sweet. So having that with the noisiness of the backing, it gives this juxtaposition that is quite unusual, quite fun. Yeah. We've got like clangy cymbals. Maybe it's a hi-hat actually on the right there. It doesn't sound like a crash, does it? So maybe it's just an open hi-hat. Oh, which would make sense with it sounding like it's sometimes a little bit open. Wow, that took me a while. Okay, so presumably hi-hat on the right, and yeah, it's just clattering away at that point. Also, the vocals suddenly take on a lot more power, don't they? Yeah. Let my feelings show! All the way up to that E. Power. Beautiful restraint on the rest of the track. And then just letting it through at this particular moment. It's lovely, powerful stuff. And presumably we're going somewhere else now. There's that B flat. Yeah. Back to our initial section. A tiny bit more noise coming through. With the, I think this is slightly bigger than it was. Maybe it's not. Don't know. Slight bit more noise on the. What am I saying? Slight bit more noise on the guitar in this particular section. I don't know if that's just because it hasn't been gated out of there, but it's adding a little more noise to the section, making it a little more big and fussy sounding. Yeah, it's nice. They were doing that from time to time in the track, just changing up that rhythm so it wasn't just always 1, 2, 3, but they put in that extra one there. So, and that's how they end on that extra one, which I think is a cool way to end, just making the rhythm slightly more complicated, and it doesn't sound complicated, it just sounds more sort of syncopated, more I don't know, unwieldy, a little bit more funky really is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, anyway, that was Broken Bones. That was great. Simplistic, structurally we only really had 3 sections and they repeated in the same ways every single time. We only had a very limited palette of sounds. Rock band with guitars, drums, bass, vocals, that's it. But the way that it was used to create a powerful and unusual sounding song, despite the limitations, there's a lot of creativity in the sections which aren't so limited, and I think that's great. You don't need to be creative in absolutely every domain, although I do enjoy trying to do that. You can be creative in one particular way and add that to, let's say, the bog standard of a song, and just because you've only done that one particular thing doesn't mean that what you've done isn't incredibly valuable. It can be. Sometimes it isn't, but sometimes it really is. And what they've done there, I think, was great. Let's carry on.
Seems like all my life I've been trying hard, go the whole 9 yards. We made it this far.
Okay. So we were on one bass note all the way through that. Bom, 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 bom. And we've got that rhythm. Which is basically the tresillo rhythm. Especially with that drum, which is taking up the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get those 2 different rhythms at the same time, and they, because they're together, make just a far richer thing than otherwise. It's pretty common these days to get that particular rhythm going on, so it's not like they're plumbing the depths of experimentalism there. What is quite unusual is the melody. Let's hear it again.
Seems like all my life I've been trying hard, go the whole 9 yards. We made it this far.
Yeah. So the melody starts off pretty straightforward. working up the chord. Ta-da-da-da-da. Very nice C major chord there. Straightforward, comfortable. And then da-da-da-da. Whoa, that's not what we were expecting. We were playing with this nice C major chord, and then you added 2 notes to it. You added the 13th, da, da, the 11th, the sharp 11th, da, 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 da. Wow, really making the sound world expand, if not change entirely. But then da, 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 da. We go to G in the bass after that. Let's see what carries on going. Okay, so not quite as long on the G either, but we will repeat those 2 notes, the A there and the F sharp. Now, in the C chord, those are really crazy. In the G chord, they're not quite as crazy. There's the 9th, which is a soft dissonant, and the major 7th, which is a... It's one of those ones where, even though it's a semitone out, you can sort of be comfortable with it because of the relationship it has to the other notes in the chord. Because these are very consonant intervals. It's just the relationship with the root note which makes it uncomfortable. Yeah, whereas that's not true of the sharp 11th in that C chord. That's dissonant to that one, it's dissonant to that one, and it's a soft dissonance with that one. So all of those pretty uncomfortable. The other one is quite comfortable, really, for all of them. Not really dissonant to any of them. I guess to that one, it's a soft dissonance, isn't it? But yeah, that sharp 11, that really is. So when we get to this G chord, even though those 2 notes they don't sit in the chord, they are more comfortable than they were in the C chord. So it's almost like they came into the C chord, the C chord forced us, or those notes forced us to move to a different root note where they could sit a little bit more harmoniously, even though they're still not. But then we go back to the C and we start again. And I think we had a 6-bar phrase, but let's just count that. 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then we're back to the beginning. 6 just doesn't come up that often. I don't think there's anything really wrong with 6. There's a little bit of unevenness, isn't there? Because we stay on this C chord for 4 beats, and then we go to G, and we stay on G for longer. We stay on, shorter. We stay on it only for 2 beats. So we've got this sort of heavy root note of the C, and we go away from it just for a little bit, and then we come back. So we don't have equal phrases here. We don't have an antecedent and a precedent or whatever. I don't know, I can't remember what the official terms for these things are. We don't have a question and an answer so much as we have like a huh and a let me tell you all about that. And we're back now to the beginning again with that C. Okay, what's going to carry on? I think I heard another instrument coming in on the left. Yeah, so it's not clear exactly what it is. It might just be a guitar, it might be a keyboard, but it's just holding these 2 notes, I think. A B and an E. The E is quite nice. The B is giving us a major 7. I love those, but it is a little bit dissonant. Interesting. The vocals there split just for 1 note, because one of them while the other da, 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 da. So we got both of those notes at the same time just for a moment. What an interesting choice. I don't see much merit in it right now, but it is kind of fun, especially when you're listening very closely like this. You might well not even notice that if you weren't. And we're back to the G. Yeah, and then we go back to the C, same kind of time. These higher notes, they came in with a re-slide. I think they kept those ones for that. Now they're slightly more consonant with the C chord, I think. Is it that? No, it is still the B, isn't it? Yeah, forget me. Ignore me. Yeah, so it's there. They're changing to B and F sharp. Okay, so giving us the third of this chord, which otherwise, until then, was lacking. Giving us that G major very specifically. They also give us the third of the C major chord, so maybe that's very well planned out. And then the major 7 is the other thing. They give us that F sharp there, and in the other one, the B, major 7. So we're going back and forth between essentially two major 7 chords, C major 7 and G major 7, and they're pretty easy chords to get on with. It's like chord 4 and chord 1, which is interesting because we sort of felt like we were in C, didn't we? We've got a whole lot more C than we have G, but when we get to G, it does feel a lot more comfortable than when we're in C. Part of that is because here we've got the sharp 4, haven't we? And the sharp 4 is saying either we are in Lydian mode, and we want to sound, yeah, Dancing Days, great. By Led Zeppelin, that's in Lydian mode, I've just worked out. Or it's saying this is not our route. We want to be somewhere else, like G. Even G doesn't quite feel like our route. If anything is our route here, it's probably D, with those two notes in. But we haven't had any inkling of a D so far, so let's not hold too much hope for that. We went up to the B there, not very noticeable, but and comfortably fits in the chord a little bit better. Nice. So everything drops out. I have such a love-hate relationship with these stops. Everything drops out and we get one more. This one is and then we're into our next section, full of synths, it sounds like. We're going to have an 80s disco. Wow, everything's changing. Okay, let's hear that again. Okay, so it is, yeah, G major 7, and then that's like A minor 7 quick, back to the G major 7. Yeah, and what's our time signature all of a sudden? Let's try and count. Go a little bit earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, doesn't work, does it? What I think is just that there's one beat missing. And I think it goes 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Yeah, nice. Okay, so there's just one beat missing from our normal 4/4 kind of feel that we've had so far. We've got a bar of 3/4 just at the beginning there, where we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Or not. 1, 2, 3, 1. That's more like it. And yeah, what an interesting chord sequence. Let's have a look. Yeah. we're definitely ending up at E major 7. The chords, 2 chords just before that, I'm struggling with. Got a D in both of them. Sounds like something like that. Is it? Maybe that. What's the bass doing? Yeah, interesting. Okay. So that's probably that. Let's just hear to see if that makes some sense. Ah, okay. Wow, that's kind of cool. Okay, so we got the G major 7, the A minor 7, back to the G major 7, and then we're going to E minor 7, which has a D in it, then to D minor 7, and then to the E flat major 7. So yeah, so we get this odd bass line going from E to D to E flat. It's not actually the same as that, if anyone knows what that is. It's similar, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, we get 3 notes which are all right next to each other. Well, can't possibly occur in a key, and that's why we feel so strongly that we're in a different place when we get to that E flat. We're neither in the place that has E, nor are we in the place that has D. Well, that's closer, but we're definitely not in the place that has E, because we've got E flat. And then we stick on this for a little bit longer. This chord allows us to sort of expand, and the texture feels quite different. Before, we were getting these stabs of chord, snare, but then we get, and suddenly that's not quite so clear. We still get the snare on the offbeats. Yeah, it feels like we get like an F chord just before we end as well. Yeah. Which is a nice little bit of melody leading us and showing us really that we're still in D. Again, we've got that E flat, F, G. It's working in the same way as the F, G, A in the previous one. Those epic chord changes. Same thing going on here. I do like that as well. Again, it sounds like that's definitely someone else's melody, isn't it? But what is that? It's not I'm With You by Avril Lavigne. But I did hear that recently and I enjoyed it, and so that must be why it came to mind. It's definitely something else, but I can't think. Anyway, melodies are all interchangeable, really. Okay, third time. The third time there, we don't get the F chord, but instead we get an E minor, really? Let's hear it again. No, we got D7 sus4. D7 sus4. Do we really get that with a B as well? No, we don't. So they changed the melody which had previously been let's just hear that again, because there's a chance I've just been intuiting. Oh yeah, I have. It was always that. That's a shame, because it's cooler with a B, but it is with a B flat. So ba da 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 da, whereas da 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 just has this more unexpected and happier feel, and it's rare that you get both unexpected and happy in music. Okay, and we're back to C. Unexpected. It's unexpected only like harmonically. That D7 really wants us to go probably to G, like we were for that section. But here we're dropping to C, so it's almost like an interrupted cadence is what's happening there. It's almost like that. Is that a little? Surely it's not. Surely it's not a little bit longer on the G. Let's just get back to the beginning. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was. I think maybe just because we got that. Yeah, you know the rest. Right at the beginning, going up to that B, so it felt a little bit different to me. We've heard that B in that context, but not right at the beginning of the chord. It sort of really makes that chord a comfortable home as we get to it. Very straightforward drums in this section, but with occasional flashy, slightly flashy, okay, a little bit extra there, isn't there? Slightly flashy fills is what I was trying to say there. Let's hear what that new instrument is. Isn't it different? Isn't it different sounding to the previous track? The previous track, which was so focused on this thick, basic texture. Now we've got the synths in. It's still not crazy exploratory, sound design, but we're playing a lot more with texture than the previous track. Yeah, what is that? I mean, it could be a synth, it could be a guitar. It's keeping very out of the way of like describing this chord though. Playing around with F sharps and B, similar to what the synth the one is doing as well. Maybe the A as well is in there, but I think it's limited really to those 4 notes. It's nice though, the reverb it has and the far away soundingness because of the reverb makes it a big different texture, and it also adds a little more shape to the atmosphere, which is nice. Most of the instruments here are quite forward, so it's nice to have that one which sounds further and glitters in the acoustic. There it was just doing individual notes, just working up like that, and then when we get there, maybe it's doing a bit of G. Don't think so, no. Same deal. Less effective the second time because you expect it. Interesting though here that we don't have like crashy cymbals. We've got nothing getting away of the high end on those synths. Those synths are just bright sounding things. Yeah, and the drums are pretty minimal. We're mainly focusing on the kick and the snare. Those are the things getting through at least. And this is now going on to our 4th time. This time we had 3 last time, which was a bit unexpected in itself. Now we're breaking that expectation that we would have 3 again by having another one. The other thing is we had a little moment there again where the voices diverged. It's an interesting thing to do, and I think it could probably be used in a more creative and interesting fashion, but it does add that little bit of extra excitement. This is interesting actually. In this section, the synths are being used in a different fashion straight from the beginning. They're long, aren't they? We're not getting those hits of the chords. We're getting longer, held out, and so it means it feels like it's moving towards something. It's less happy in its own existence with those stop chords. It's just moving somewhere else. And there's probably some more synths coming in. There's something in the left ear there, but it's indistinct, so I'm not going to focus too much on it. Yeah, so it's such a thick, synthy, syrupy texture, and things are whirring, and there's a little bit of pulsing in each of the chords, isn't there? So everything is shimmering in quite a charismatic fashion. Not one that I'm particularly taken in by these days, but it is, yeah, it does feel, you know, celestial in some fashion. Even the bass is getting those long notes, and the drums have become even more minimal, haven't they? They're just going da da da. Just kick drum and snare on the beat with a few fills. Was that the D chord that we finished on there? No, it wasn't. It was the F7 as well, which I hadn't picked out before, but yeah, we didn't have the D chord to finish on there. So that was a nice thing that happened halfway through. Well, not massively into that one in comparison. Has some fun ideas. It's more simplistic. We really only had 2 sections there, didn't we? I guess you could maybe say that the C section and the G section of that of the verse are different sections, but they're very, very similar, aren't they? But there was at least a little more textural play there, but I think it was overall less effective than the first track. Let's carry on. Video game from the recent past, but that wants to sound like it's from the 90s. The Messenger springs to mind. Yeah, so it's sort of building up an E, let's call it a major 7, E flat major 7, but then we maybe get the 9 in there, maybe, well, it doesn't actually feel like we do get the sharp 11 or the 11, but I think definitely got the 13 in there as well. Let's hear it one more time and see if we can pick out that sharp 11. No, not really. And each voicing doesn't have all of the notes in, especially that E flat gets left out as we're going higher. So that sort of starts to fade. So by the last one, is it just that? Let's hear it again. Sounds just like an open fifth to me. There's some notes held on, like that one, for instance, the major 7. But it does just sound like they play an open fifth at that last one, and we've sort of lost the E flat by then. So the chord, because all these notes are being held for different amounts of time, the chord is evolving with each different hit of the different set of notes that nonetheless comprise the same chord, such that when we get to the final one, it doesn't really sound like the same chord anymore. Same thing again, but slightly different. Okay, now interestingly, percussion coming in there, but not the standard drum percussion we've been expecting. More like a side stick or something like that. Just maybe a wood block. Yeah, and is that a guiro? I can never remember. Is it worth? Why not? Let's just include myself, informing myself on which instrument sounds like what. Let's go to Wikipedia and let's have a look. Let's just look. Gyro. Hopefully it has the sound of a gyro on the page. Yes, here we are. Are you ready? Oh, beautiful. What a beautiful sound. Yeah, it's really like someone is scratching your earlobe. Excellent. So yeah, I think that's what we've got going on there. Let's hear it again. It could be something else. What I think is it's one of those with the high end taken out, those higher frequencies taken out. It's a really strange mix of instruments. We've got that beautiful sort of electric piano sound, and we've got this muted gyro.
I was so young, so much unsung. Wish I could hug the girl that I was.
And there's some other ambient noise building up in the background too. But yeah, we're really rooted around this E flat chord. The melody is just going between the major 7 and the 6. Both, let's say, relatively comfortable dissonances. There's no point saying that this one's a hard one and this one's a soft one, because they both sound nice. Because in the extended library of this chord, they're all there, making this lovely soup of E flat major. But yeah, it's really just hanging out on those two notes while this ambient noise grows. And things are happening fairly regularly. The chords on the piano, electric piano, are coming regularly. It's like 1, 2, another one, and another one, and another one. So even though the rhythm doesn't seem to be taking hold, there is rhythm in the background. And the gyro is doing similarly, like, okay. So you are such a fraud. Oh my god. And then where are we going? Don't know. But we hit that so hard out of nowhere. We've been soft, almost ejected sounding, not really interested. You are such a fraud. Suddenly hitting that A flat chord there really hard. The synths come in, we just layer the atmosphere with that big strong major 7 chord, A flat major 7, and then we get a little bit of the 9 and then it disappears. And where are we? Wishy-washy sounds. We've still got the gyro, we've still got the... And then finally, yeah, only around about now, several seconds after everything disappeared, do we get that E flat cutting through. Before it wasn't, it was there, but it just wasn't cutting through the noise. We got that extra ambient noise, didn't we? And that obscured the chord, and then finally it fits itself again.
Well played, solitaire, unkept, pinky swear. No might fade to how you were unfair.
Very similar, but this time the swell in the voice's intensity comes later, and takes us by surprise to some degree, because she's singing da 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 just relatively softly and then building da 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 all the way through that one. Powerful, yeah, cool, really interesting idea, having these two really contrasting sections, which both are basically part of the verse. It's not like we're doing a soft verse, loud chorus, grunge style thing. And then it just again disappears. That is the sharp 11 on that chord that that has been absent from the E flat chord. So it's almost like this is our comfort chord, and then this is our intense chord, our pain chord. Okay, so we go to our pain chord, and then we've got these harmony vocals, thirds. They're doing very simple stuff, giving us the 9 and the major 7, and then they just go up 1 and come back down. They're just singing in 2s, and then we lose that chord, drop to the sadder version of it. It's relative minor, the F minor there, which with that extra B flat, minor 9 becomes minor 11. Minor 11, I think, is an underrated chord.
If I should keep some hope alive, I hold
Same thing again. Still got the gyro in the background. Wow, unexpected place there. I guess sort of like a... Yeah. No, it's definitely... Well, if there is a third in there...
against the light.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, wow. It's a really interesting sound. Not one I'm so familiar with. But we're looking at D in the bass, while these two are up there. So that gives us a D in the bass, D in the top, and a B. So it's almost like a G chord with a D in the bass, but that's not how it sounds. There's definitely more to it than that. It's like that's held on. Maybe that one is too. So we've got that E in there as well. Is that it? Got that in there. It doesn't feel like we've got that in there anywhere other than the vocal. So that's maybe what we're looking at there. It's like a G, no, it's like a C major 7 chord with a D in the bass. Now normally we get something like that here. It's like a held subdominant chord with the dominant note in the bass. And so we're really just pushing towards that dominant feel, but I don't think that's going to be how it is used here. It's also unexpected after the F minor and the A. So unexpected, big change. it's hard to even describe. But you know, the F minor has an A flat, for instance. Well, we don't have an A flat here. The F minor has an F. We don't have an F here. The F minor has a C. Okay, we do have a C here, so there is a link. If we continue that on, there's an E flat in this chord because it's a minor 11 chord. So the E flat, we don't have an E flat in this chord. G, okay, so we do have a G and a C, and then that B flat, well, that's now a B. So a big dissonant shift there. Like, I mean, it is essentially a tertiary shift. Or at least to D it would be. But really, is this a D chord? No. Is this a C chord? Yeah, so there's not actually that much difference between a normal C chord and an F minor chord. Well, they're semitonally different. It's like that. Okay? As relationships between things a fifth apart often are, simple change, one note staying the same and the other two shifting in the same direction by a semitone or a tone. That would be the same with an F major there. But here, because we've got such large extended chords, the relationships are much different. We've got those shifting up like that, while these two notes are the same. Now, while if we had that in this particular relationship with those two notes a sixth apart moving up like that, it would be really a common change between these chords. In this relationship, they're a fifth apart and they're still moving up. So it becomes something which I can't describe theoretically, but is a big harmonic change and feels very, whoa, where else are we? I will have to look into that a bit more. Here it comes again. It also sounds a lot more positive and sharp. And then really nice change from that crazy D chord to more a D flat chord. Ugh. Goosebumps, beautiful. So D, you don't need me to tell you, but the relationship between a D chord and a D flat chord is semitonal. And this, anyway, we were saying it was more of a C chord with a D in the bass, weren't we? And then therefore a C chord to a D flat, that's also a semitonal relationship. So it's like they're going from these two sides inwards. And when we get inwards, we get this resolution of these two opposing forces into somewhere that neither of them were particularly fond of, but now they are there. Isn't it a sweet relationship they've found? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and well, it didn't last long. Yeah, another major 9 chord. We've got quite high falsetto singing up to that F sharp there, and we're down on a B major 7. So we've had E flat major 7, we've had C flat major 7. B major 7 is the same as C flat major 7, so if we kept going down, we would have these again. So it just disappears. We get just a melody by itself. The quiet that I've become. Does it do that? Does it have the false relation there?
The quiet that I've become.
Yeah. Quiet that I've become. Lovely stuff. So this C flat, let's call it a C flat chord for ways of getting back to the E flat. We've got that B flat, A flat, G flat, and then getting back to the E flat. The G flat changes to the G. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So satisfying. Playing with major 7th chords. It's really satisfying. Like it feels like every single one, every single relationship has, you know, a uniqueness to it, but also it's like instantly resolved by the time it gets there. And that's the same with major 9 chords too. You can hear Jimi Hendrix playing around with something similar to this. He doesn't have the major 7 chord in. He doesn't have the major 7 of the chord in. He just has the 9, but there's this that kind of thing that happens on a few Jimi Hendrix songs. Just playing with those 9 chords and just sliding them around. It's a really satisfying and unusual thing to do with major chords. I don't know. We're operating in this similar kind of major chords über alles kind of situation where it doesn't matter what our sort of root scale is. If it's minor, that's fine. We're still going to have major chords up all of those notes. Despite them not fitting in the key. It's the same kind of thing, I think, happening. Although what's happening with that D chord, I don't know. That's something else. Something too jazzy for my understanding. But it sounds like we're back to where we were, doesn't it? And we've even got the gyro in as well. There's some other sounds in there. Sounds like a whistle or something like that. I couldn't tell you what it is. Strange sort of descent there for a moment. Yeah, so while we get those thirds, something like that. Yeah, they're not actually full thirds, are they? They're thirds and a fourth. So that's nice. While that's happening, there's a kind of going on in the background too. Just descends out of the harmonic spectrum of the filter. This is the same beautiful A flat major 7 chord, but there's this fluttering in it, isn't there? This kind of thing. Oh, really nice. Yeah. Just disappears again. That ambient noise is building again. Again, we got that subtle intro into that big chord again, the second time along. So this is really similar to the first set of verses we had. And there goes that, wow, that ambient noise. It's really hard to describe its effect. Okay. So this has gone, yeah, again, let's call this our chorus section, I suppose. Same thing as happened last time, but this time we've got this absolutely screaming, yeah, like a top C, not today, just screaming at the top of this chord. Keep your ears out for that. It adds this pain, this intensity to what's going on. That's the one.
The pain of one, your heart to name the fire.
Okay, and it comes down an octave. Interesting. And then to an E flat. Ah! It's all the same sort of sequences we had before. But gosh, there's some powerful stuff. Really nice, and with that extra distorted whatever it is, whether it's a synth or whatever, it's just right on the edge of flipping over into nasty feedback, but it's being held there, and it's just grating, making each of these chord changes that bit more powerful, moving to consonant notes in each of the chords, but yeah, really giving an extra level of angst to each of them. This is beautiful. Oh, well, it was on non-dissonant notes. There, it's up on, an octave higher than that. There it is. And then it sort of slips the semitone, giving us a horrible B minor major 7, C sharp minor major, C flat minor major 7 chord. Oh, yeah, that's pain. And then we get that false relation in the melody again, the G flat, G, but we don't get the chord. The chord doesn't come in. The gyro comes in, but we're left with that and that really aggressive D up in that stratosphere. That's all we have. And this is the choir. Okay. And then all our main instruments come in for the E flat major 7, which has been our quiet, sweet, soft place until now. Yeah, and we've still got that thing careening around, now giving us some real dissonance. What is that? It's like, like a sharp 8, sharp 15. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Okay, I'm finally finishing on just E flat by itself. Wow. What a unique piece of work. Great. Really good. I do not regret listening to this album and dissecting it. That's beautiful. I mean, to be upset to some degree, look at the views, the listens. The first track and the third track have a fraction of what the second track has. And the second track, I wasn't particularly into. Oh well, whatever. This is actually just, a daily problem for me. Always liking the tracks that just don't have that much broader appeal. Anyway, I think that should though, shouldn't it? That's just a work of art in comparison. Oh, alright, whatever. Hex Key. Well, it's a really fun texture. I don't know what instrument that is, but it's got this. It's got a little bit of a gyro sound to it, hasn't it? Like that kind of sound that, for some reason, gyros have. A woody kind of sound, I guess, maybe is what that is. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, we've got mainly D's, and then we keep switching relationship, whether it's the fifth or the fourth, to come off it. But yeah, it's a fun thing, and we're in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, never mind. Good intro. And then it slides away, and then for some reason, instead of starting in D or in G, we start in E flat. This is it. And the drums are back. We didn't really have any drums for the previous one, apart from that gyro, which I guess is percussion, not really a drum. Yeah, drums are doing something much more unusual on this one. And the texture feels a lot wider, doesn't it? It feels like we've got a lot more space here than we've had at all on these tracks. Yeah, it's really, it's like picking each individual bit of the kit. We're getting a little bit of hi-hat, and then a little bit of snare. Maybe something else sounding like snare as well. And then a little bit of kick drum, yeah. A little bit of hi-hat again. Yeah, so it's like it is doing more than just some hi-hat, some snare, some kick drum. But the way that they interact, it's not that each of them is keeping their own pattern. They're sort of being used to create one whole pattern by itself, which is not that common for drums, really. A lot of the time in drums, you have, well, something keeping the beat, whether it be hi-hat or whether it be, you know, ride cymbal, and that's keeping the beat. And then other things might have a particular rhythm that they keep to in relationship to that, but they're not adding to that rhythm. It's not like it's one amorphous whole. It is several different things operating in tandem, which isn't the case for this. This feels like it is everything happening as one rather than in tandem, which is fun. It's quite a different feel for drums. It doesn't happen so often. The other thing it sounds like is the what I think of as the lawnmower sound in Burn the Witch by Radiohead, because in the video there's someone's got a lawnmower and then it goes almost as a sound to that lawnmower. But yeah, that's what it is. By the way, I wasn't talking about the drums there. I was talking about the woody kind of sound. Yeah, and that's keeping the low note going while the bass is having some fun. Something like that. A nice riff just filling in the empty space there, while nothing else is really taking the focus. Like the melody finishes and then we get that bass doing that fun stuff. Yeah, different one as well. Good. Ooh, and then it drops. Feels like it drops all the way through the floor, but it just drops from E flat to D, just a semitone down. And the melody goes with it. Yeah, pretty consonant. On this one we were da-da, was our main melody. So that one was really keeping for that E flat, and this is really keeping to D. So different sound worlds. Nonetheless, the texture is very similar, but the harmonic spectrum has shifted that semitone down entirely. Everything has. A little bit more of a wordy melody there. And I think it's fun. We jump down a sixth, we go back up a seventh. Yeah, fun. It feels like we take really a non-specific amount of time on each of those, while the drums are keeping a very regular pattern going. Yeah, it feels like it just goes on for as long as it wants. The verse is an irregular length, I think. Anyway, let's have one more listen and let's see if let's count through. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So slow as well, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we going to shift? 1. Yeah, we did. Okay, that was pretty regular. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, it is actually regular. It's 4 very slow bars of 4/4. The thing that makes it not feel that way is actually the melody. The melody, which has its own repetitions. It also has a lot more going on in that second section, which doesn't happen in the same relationship to the first beat of the bar as in the first section. So that makes this sort of very open texture feel quite hard, quite unmemorable maybe, but in a way that sort of adds to it. It's like journeying through the desert and you see a mountain, like, didn't I just see that? Maybe I saw that 5 hours ago, but maybe it's the same one. Maybe I'm going in the wrong direction. Maybe it's a different one. I can't really tell because I've just had my mind on loop for so long. It's just been seeing the same things over and over again. Anyway, this is an extended metaphor that needs to stop.
Feels incredible. It's not conventional. This is the pinnacle. You are one of the.
Okay, a 7-chord sequence and 8 bars. We at least start and end with D. Let's have a look at what else is going on. Also, let's just say the texture has totally changed. Everything is now up really high. It sounds like we've got sort of weird male chorus vocals, but they're missing the low frequencies that would make them that. It's like a ho, but it's not got the ooh. It's got the this kind of thing. Yeah, so that's a nice one. That's what my guess for that chord is. And from D to like, what would you even call that? B flat with an E. B flat at 11. It sort of feels more like an augmented chord in a certain way, though. But I don't think we have that there. Maybe it's a G minor 6. That actually does fit a bit. E flat. Yep. E flat major 7. Maybe A flat major 7. Oh no. Yeah, okay. So that's like a F9. Oh, say that again. Wow, my stomach really hurts all of a sudden. F minor. F minor 7. I think, anyway. Yeah, that sounds about right. flat.
This is the pinnacle.
Okay, B flat minor. And then we're back. Gosh, what was that again? D. I've actually forgotten. That's, let's call it, yeah, G minor 6. Okay. E flat, major 7. F9 to some degree. F minor 7. B flat. No, sorry, B flat minor 7. Back to D. Play around with that. Pretty crazy. Goes to a lot of different places. The chords, each individual chord change sort of seems quite related to the previous one. This to the G minor 6, that's straightforward. That's like a 1 chord to a minor 4 chord, and then that's just a semitone away from that E, and then that E flat, major 7. That to the F. It doesn't feel like a big change. 2 notes are staying the same, and then from the F to the F minor, well, that's just a semitone change again, and then to the B flat minor, it feels quite a big change, but F minor to B flat minor is actually really straightforward. Minor 1 to minor 4 again, but then suddenly we go to D, and that's pretty crazy. Okay, I'm not feeling very well all of a sudden, so I'm going to try and finish this and then go. I might just speed through it. Okay, back to the... No, I guess this is a mixture texture, isn't it? We've still got some of that high stuff going on, and we've got the as well, and the drums have come back as well. Okay, and we were in D to begin with there, and now we're in the E flat part, and we're sliding upwards this time. We've got a 6th in this chord, just quite held there. Okay, interestingly there, we didn't have nearly as much E flat as we did in the first one. We just went there for 2 bars, and then we went back to D, and we started in D. So treating it quite differently from that perspective, but the way the lyrics are treated was quite similar, and the way the ensemble performed, again, very similar to the first verse section. Okay, we're getting clearer bass notes on these chords now. It sounds like they're in the club next door. There's our D chord. Yeah. So it's more of a B flat based chord there, but it does feel like we've got that G in there. So yeah, G minor with B flat. Then it's to the E flat, and then we've got an A in that one, which really, yeah, is one of those, I think, isn't it? Let's hear it again. Oh no, it's that. Okay, all right. So what's that? Half diminished. Yeah, half diminished. That's fun. Nice. yeah, I guess this is another minor chord with the third in the bass, just like we just had on the G minor. This is now an F minor with a third in the bass. Okay, and then that's what I thought it was before. Yeah, it's a little bit honky. Got a little bit of harmony fun. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was an Allen key. Do they just call hex keys something else? Or do they call Allen keys something else in other places? Also, I thought Allen was just spelled A-L-A-N, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, that's like a B flat minor chord with an F in the bass. And how do we finish? Do we just go back to a D chord? We do. Okay. So we've updated that sequence then from D. We go to a B flat 6 or a G minor on B flat, to E flat major 7, to the A half diminished, to the F minor on A flat, to the B flat minor on F, which is kind of unusual as a change, and then we finish just on D again. It's a really fun sequence. It's a little bit, where are we even going? Why do these chords exist in this relationship? It doesn't seem to have much reason to it, but nonetheless, the visceral effect of it is quite powerful. Okay, and now, in a great way to make two disparate sections fit together, we have incorporated those drums from the initial section and maybe the sound. No, that's not quite there yet, but the drums from the initial section have come into this section, and we're repeating it now with a mixture of the two things. They're doing a lot with minimal resources here, and I think it's really to be lauded. It's not quite the same thing that's happening with the drums, but it does have that t-t-t from the hi-hat that is very similar to what was going on, and almost the sort of iconic reference of the previous section. Okay, holding on D. And also, isn't the vocals are so far away in this section, it's like just whispering on the wind, and we're just holding that D chord while the other one something like that. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Okay. So 3 out of 4, I would say. Good hits there. Sorry, guitars. 3 out of 4. Yeah, I really think this band has a lot going on that is really interesting. We haven't even heard the crazy guitar lines that I know from the previous album, and I am expecting a certain amount of those on this album too. They're just playing with so much stuff, aren't they? Each of these tracks is quite different to the last. I guess texturally we've got some similarities, especially between the last 3 tracks, but they're also playing with things that are entirely unexpected. The gyro on the 3rd track, various other things on that 3rd track. The 1st track, texturally, all the trappings of a classic rock band, but then some unusual things to do with harmony, and the relationships between the sections were really well planned in a way that is very, very literate. That's very different to what happened on the 3rd track. The 2nd track I've almost forgotten at this point, having had very little emotional reaction to it. But that 4th track was doing new things again. And in each of these tracks, the structure is really straightforward. Roughly strophic kind of thing, like an A-B verse chorus and then a verse chorus again kind of thing. Not very complicated. But what do they do with it? They make these sections quite powerful by themselves, quite unique in themselves, and then they combine elements of the two to make a unique sort of marriage in the later parts. So a really cool thing to do. They're doing lots of great things. Hooray! Fantastic. I'm about to stop, but I hope to see you again. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful life. Bye bye.